first off is if I bring in this folder where the server's running, and you see all the source code, we have this folder called users, and this will probably be put in a better place later. We have some other folders too that I'll check out later, but check out this prop. It's the account information. What makes a player's character? What's in their inventory? What's their current, hit points and player stats? How big is their inventory? What level and experience they are? And then for physics, I'm not using this right now, but I'm just entertaining the idea that they could weigh different amounts. So if you want to be a heavy character and you're hit with bullets, you get blown back less and stuff like that. And then this is actually just a template. So if I go to, I have 3 users right now. So right now there's no registration for new users. We're not there yet, but we do have the ability to have different users. And then this is going to be their username and password. And you see the password is plain text here. And believe you me, I realize that's not the way you do things. That's just the way it is now. So some starter white armor, pistol, helmet, this assault rifle that I call CCAR. I don't know what the CC stands for. You just put some letters in front and it kind of makes it sound like its own special thing, or at least that was the idea. And then some rifle ammo. Right now there's 87. I could change the quantity if I wanted to. And then these other things don't have a quantity because they're not stackable in the inventory. The old legacy GUI stuff is scrapped now. It's still a little janky and oversimplified, but it's got the places where they should be in the canvas and all that. So if we play this, and let's see, is the server running? All right, the server is now running here. So if I log in the test, and it's automatically put to a test here. And if we run, we're in. Another thing is there's a physics engine now behind it. Before it was just, custom discrete integration, basically Euler integration. I had to remove the old math library. GLM was taken out. For a while I had React physics in, and it's got a lot of features that overlaps with what the Unity PhysX feature has. Then the question is, why isn't the server in Unity? And that's for a couple of reasons. Not enough control. You can only really have one world running at a time. There's all this graphics and overhead. In the game loop, it's very rigid structure for how the game loop is done. But anyways, it's got a lot of Unity stuff here. Mostly capsules, because I need that for players, sphere box, integration, discrete solver, discrete collision detection. Joints would be nice. I don't know if I want to really have jointy stuff. The physics engine wasn't really turning out to be stable. It may have been an issue on my part, but from what I've seen, it seemed like the simplest case I could make, and it was still kind of degrading and unstable. Not in a way that would explode, but in a way where it wasn't resetting correctly. That wasn't working out, so I pivoted. I ended up going with the bullet physics. It seemed pretty solid. It's got a lot going for it, especially it had everything that I needed, and it had more than reacted, and it had 0 extra library dependencies. So Unity uses PhysX. Why not PhysX? And I've never used it before, directly, as compiled it and then, library linked to it and all that. But I'm a little skeptical. This is the last, I'd be willing to, but Bullet saved the day, and it's already working fantastic, so I didn't have to go that far. So let's get to it. This guy, so here's Bullet. This isn't the actual boundary, it's just a visual box here. But there is a little block inside, and you'll see, because it's a block, and this is a capsule collider person, and he can jump. Anyway, so you see I line up to the face of the box, if you can imagine where it is. This one's the same size too. And then sometime in the near future, I plan to import these collision boundaries into the Bullet in the server. So I can run around here. This is also visual, so I can run out. Although this is just a large box, I can run off the world, and then I'll start falling. And then I want to make a location where if you fall too low, you just automatically die. So this is pretty much all the same, just using the Unity UGUI stuff instead of the legacy stuff. It's all pretty obvious. Disconnect, inventory, that should say chat. Alright, so now you'll see that I can push this guy around. So boop, boop, boop. The reason I brought him in was just to show the chat working here. Anytime you want to type, you hit enter and you're back in with focus in the right area. This whole thing about putting the last chat on top of their name needs to go pretty soon too. Oh my god, their faces are gone. Alright, so the last time I exported, I was just missing this guy here, but it's back in now. We got rid of that menu here, so if we type in help on the client side, it'll actually list out this stuff, the commands. And I know this is kind of clipped. Yeah, it's on the to-do list. Anyways, disconnect, smile, a lot of these emotes. Help, we just typed clear, so there's clear here. Anyways, so if I type in smile, you'll see on this side, this is me here smiling and blinking and smiling. The recognition of this is done client side. Of course, yeah, obviously emoting is, you have to send something to the server that broadcasts that message to all the other clients, and back to yourself too, to see yourself. And this is their player level, so you can see how powerful they are. Okay, so we have this one player here is test, and this other one is test 2. And then if we say message test 2, this other guy, hey, what's up? Then you see that we get confirmation we sent that message to them, and they also see that message. And it's not broadcast to everybody, so... Okay, so we have this guy, RK here, Reven K. Test 2 here, and then test. So everyone sees that. Only test 2 gets that message and knows it's from us, and it's green. Green's not the best color, but just to show that we can differentiate it to the users. And you can write back, and right now it's case sensitive. It's a little bummer, but case sensitive. So this Reven K here doesn't get any of that. So there's some client side slash messages, and there's some server side slash messages. So another thing is we're able to say like what kind of elevated privileges they have. Right now it's just admin, but there's going to be like power users and moderators and then admins at the top. So admin equals true. This gives the user the ability when they go through the chat here to say use this command, which the server recognizes. If I go to /server and I use that command we showed last time, plkick, and then we just kicked him out of the world with our admin privileges by calling arbitrary Lua that then the server recognizes that I'm allowed to run and then does it to affect the world. Okay, so you'll see these guys have weapons. These weapons are part of what's in their inventory, so if I click here, you'll see this guy has this red suit, which should be showing. I think only the white suit right now shows, but if I equip that, we'll see he's wearing it. I can move these items around, and right now it's a 10 by 10 grid. So whenever I move this, you'll see it jump back a bit. That's because this needs to be done better, but it jumps back, and then the server will tell you that you moved it there. So the server is also in charge of where stuff is in your inventory and all that, because it's in charge of your inventory completely. Or else if you leave anything to client side that's not just aesthetics, that's an open vector for being hacked for whatever. It's got that. We can disable and enable the gun. So we still got kind of that pose, but something to note is that his hand position does change. Fit onto the gun with some IK, and there's a little bug right there. I think I just don't turn off the IK rotation. Everything's a work in progress, but if we go to the pistol, it's more of a, double holding the handle, closer to a Weaver stance. I'd say if I want the helmet on or off, and then, if anyone else has these things, oops. Well, I say the server will check if it's overlapping, but, apparently it's got some glitches, but it will. Oh, this is inverted. Oh, I see what's going on here. So he had the red uniform, but he wasn't wearing it, so it showed the red uniform icon, but then whenever we do wear stuff or equip it, we highlight in green, and then red modulated with green just cancels each other out, and it's just a black icon. So yeah, it's got the red uniform. It's got something different than just the cookie cutter uniform everyone else has, just to show that uniforms, you can't have varied things too. You know, you can run around here, you know, do a Mario on them, boop. So push them around. And then for guns, if we have a gun selected and we have the right ammo type here, let's actually use. Let's see. So if I equip this rifle here, and it's got some back-facing issues, but you know, and then if I hit the shoot button, you'll see that he's shooting around. And then if we hit an object, then that object will actually be destroyed, like the bullet will be destroyed. If we hit a player, you know, we'll see that he's actually taking damage. And then this rifle's got a certain rate of fire. It can be amped up, but it's got a magazine size too that we don't show yet. But when it's done, it's a 5-second reload for like 10 to 20 bullets. And then if we go to the inventory, we'll see that the bullet count is actually going down. And when it, you know, reaches 0, this will be removed from my inventory. And so these guns have different attributes too, as far as like fire rate, the ammo. Actually, I can't fire this, can I? I don't have any pistol ammo. This paintbrush here is rifle ammo. Let's see. Yeah, I can't fire this, but you know, guns have different ammo types. They have different fire rates, cooldowns, reloads, damages, and all that. And then as we get more gun types and hopefully better icons and all that, there'll be more diverse selections you can choose from. But so let's just kill this guy right now. And you'll see when I hit him, these bullets do have a mass. They do have you'll see they'll roll around too. I don't think I destroy bullets yet for hitting the player, although it should. I do for objects though. Let's see, bullets do have a lifespan of like 3 seconds, so that will be removed. Oh, there's a bug right now. I think it's the bullets are removed when they hit a player, but you don't see it client side. That's not being sent. But for objects, it will be. And then for objects that are just, or for bullets that are shot out, you'll see after a while this collapses back down. And that's because they died of timeout, of just being bullets in the world for too long. And let's get back to killing this guy. So, and we'll see that he has a death animation. He still has his collider though, that could probably be changed. Or at least to be lower so bullets can go over him. And then after a certain spawn timer, he will be brought back. Yeah, and so these bullets do have a kickback that'll knock, you know, players back a little bit. This is just a little bit, but you can imagine like a 50 cal or cannon that they'll get blown back a far amount, and you can equal and opposite reaction where if I was in the air, because grounded, it's pretty much negates everything, and the stance will take out all the power. But if I'm in the air and I'm able to, am I out of ammo? God dang, I'm trying to do a demo here, people. Let's see, let's set the ammo to 300 so I don't run out. 200, and then let's relog in. Okay, I do have the ammo, 200. Let's equip the uniform because, you know, that's what separates us from the animals. Put on a helmet. Yeah, with the rifle selected here. I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but if I jump, let's see if I'm like right. So if I go forward, that's where it'll lead me. And then I start firing a bit. We'll see that it did push me back a little bit, as opposed to if I just jump and land, I'll be where I was before. So when I'm in the air, it does knock me back a little bit more. And so you can imagine if someone were able to, you know, snipe you out of the air, then you could go flying a lot more than if you were just on the ground. If you're just trying to jump around all the time, then you'll get knocked about. Oh, it's turning. Jump. And there is also an issue of if you're running this direction, kind of don't see where you are because you cover your shadow. Don't mind the square, that needs to be removed. Right now, the last part of all of the basics is the ability to, besides bug fixes everywhere, is the ability to, instead of dragging stuff around, besides dragging stuff around, is the ability to drag it out and to then have it like fall into the world and where other people can pick it up, or to walk up to it and pick up other people's stuff, or you know, an enemy dies because you killed it, then you can pick up its loot. But getting there. So I have this level here. This is basically just the test level to do whatever logic. It's not really ever part of the gameplay, but you know, there's a pistol here. There's a CCAR here in his hands. And then there's a player. And it's just an instance of the same asset. because he does have the player character script, but he's not hooked into like the server connections. And then we have a tool here, gun mount tester. So add that, add a gun here, CCCAR, and the prefab. This part can probably be optimized with the prefab utility, and so this here is just the inspector of this guy, so I don't have to, have it floating here and then lock it. What we're really concerned with is this section right here, and that'll describe like the nozzle of where the gun is and other mount points. So let's see, select the mount prefab, and then we'll see, select this guy, and then we say, so this is where, based off the root position of this character here, which we're going to assume it has the same proportions, all the characters. If we ever add the female characters in here, that's going to be an issue, but then it's going to have to fit both the male and the female, and that's it. That's the only considerations ever. Position and the oiler, the rotation here. So if we hit test, and then we can move this around saying, actually let's hit update here. That'll apply the test pretty much every frame it's running. So if we could say where we want it on the player here, local. So the player doesn't really know about how it wants to hold the gun. The gun has information on how it wants the player to hold it. Up and down, we're using IK as you see. Then oilers want to change the rotation, local to the player. And so that's what the sphere is right here, is basically the origin. So how we actually author the assets, not too important as far as like the model and how it's exported and where the origin is in the mesh. The origin's here above the handle, the origin's here in the back, the origin is here, that doesn't really matter. All that matters is we compensate and normalize all those values by having the correct values in here. This is where we want the left-hand position. And you don't really need to know what these values are. You just kind of need to have this update playing and then just move stuff along until it's correct. And then when everything is in place and correct, you could transfer the values of these to this prefab by hitting transfer to prefab, and it'll save even if the game is running. In fact, you want it to be running, or else if you stop the game, this thing is going to reset. IK for the left and the right hand, and then the rotation of it. All these items derive off this item type, which says how it exists in the world. And this could probably be reorganized to be more efficient. So we're not, for every bullet, we're not copying these values. Anything that could be like dropped in the world and picked up in an inventory is going to be an item. All the items are in this dictionary here to put them in one spot, so that when you get a message from the server saying, wear the white uniform, what does it look like in the inventory, the icon, and then whatever its properties and its assets, you would look through this inventory database here. And then for all these icons, it's just more efficient to not look for the object and then this icon list here. We have all the icons of everything in here. We hit pull icons and it'll just make one unified list. And sometimes we just want the icon of something in there, And then if I hit generate server files, what's going to happen is it's going to export to this item scripts folder. So this is created from that. So if I delete all these, and not the ones in the actual server. Okay, and then I hit, let's see, let's do a side-by-side here. Generate server files. And that's going to create all of these. So if I ever make a change, like maybe the cooldown time of one of the weapons is incorrect, then I could say, let's go to this guy right there. Change how much, what's the mag size? I want them to be able to shoot more before they have to reload. I change that, and then I can go back here and just hit generate server files, and it'll regenerate everything. It's all going to be the same except for that one change, but I don't have to, go in here and change it, and it stays in sync with the game. And so while the server is the main orchestrator of everything, and the dictator and the sayer of all things that are in the game state, we still want the game to kind of run in the background, just so that we have dead reckoning. In case there's ever a stutter, the game can kind of emulate what it would be like on the server, to extrapolate in the meantime, while we're waiting for more server messages.